This case considered the issue of incompetence and conflict of interest, and whether or not the level of a barrister's incompetence when representing two men in relation to the same offence amounted to grounds for an appeal. In this case, a barrister represented two men who were charged with offences surrounding the robbery of another man. The two men were convicted of the offences that they were charged with, but appealed their convictions on the basis that the barrister who had represented them was incompetent. One of the men argued that the barrister had failed to call evidence of his good character at trial, and that this decision to not put his character before the jury displayed the barrister's incompetence and amounted to a miscarriage of justice. He also argued that he had not been advised that he should be separately represented in order to distance himself from the other man who had an extensive criminal record. He also argued that the barrister had been generally incompetent on other issues during the trial, specifically that he had failed to advise him adequately on the charge and penalty they were facing, that he failed to take him through the brief of evidence and witness statements before the trial, and that he failed to explain to him that he had an option to remain silent at the trial. The other man argued, among other things, that the barrister had underestimated the costs, had retained the services of another solicitor to assist whom he had never spoken with, that he was late in appearing for trial, and that he had failed to seek an adjournment, failed to object, and that the barrister had made an admission on his behalf without instructions. The central issue for the court, therefore, was whether or not the barrister was incompetent, and whether or not this led to a miscarriage of justice. The court ultimately held that the barrister